Moving to Des Moines and want to make sure your new property shines? Or maybe you're investing in Des Moines and need reliable contractors for your projects. Picking the right team is crucial, and I'll show you how to do it right. When looking to hire a contractor for your building or remodeling project, you may feel a little overwhelmed and unsure on how to guarantee that they're not only legit, but also the best at what they do. Do you remember playing the game 20 Questions as a kid? Hiring a contractor is similar. You have to use questions, deductive reasoning, creativity, and tact to ensure you are getting the most for your dollar, or a couple $100,000 in this case. First, how do you find the right contractor to interview? Whether you are hiring a remodeler for a residential or commercial property project, the first thing you want to consider is a contractor's reputation. Do you know anyone who has hired them previously? What did previous clients say about their work and the value of it? Will you be able to rely upon them? Are they punctual and communicate well? Having a friend or family member who can vouch for a contractor they have used personally is great and all, but you must check into their personal reputation for yourself. Luckily, with the new day and age, this can easily be done online. Once you have some confidence in their skills and competence, based on your investigation, it's time to get on the phone and start interviewing. When you first meet them, don't hesitate to shoot the breeze. It's nice to know about the contractor's family, their priorities, and what they like to do. Only spend a few minutes doing this though, as you want to be respectful of their time, and good contractors are typically very busy. Once you've broken the ice, get right into your questions. A good contractor understands how important your property and projects are and knows that you will have lots of questions. If they won't answer your questions, they are not your contractor. If they don't show up for your appointment or interview, do not give them a second chance. If they are 30 minutes late, they had better have a good reason. If it's acceptable to them to be late or not show up before you hire them, you can bet that this behavior will remain consistent, even get worse after you hire them. When you meet a contractor, take note of their appearance and, if possible, the state of their vehicle. This can say a lot about a person's organization and attention to detail. If there are fast food bags, empty water bottles, paperwork, and trash scattered everywhere, it seems likely that this is how your house is going to look if you choose to work with them. It's essential to thoroughly vet your contractor in the interviewing process. Here's what you look for during your search. If you aren't careful about who you hire, it could cost you everything. Here are several tips to keep in mind for your initial search. Number 1, get multiple estimates. You want to make sure that you initially get estimates from more than one contractor, preferably 3. Number 2, go local. If possible, local contractors are your best option because they will be more familiar with local building codes and will always be close by if you have to contact them for an emergency. Number 3, check for proper licensing. If unlicensed, they will not be able to pull necessary permits, which will mean that your buildings are not up to local building codes and will not pass inspections. Unfortunately, you would then be held financially responsible for the repairs to meet those codes. Number 4, check for warranties. Warranties are great for both parties because they protect the contractor from having to come back for multiple repairs over a long period of time, and also ensure the homeowners that the work of the contractor will not be shoddy or subpar. So you want a warranty in writing. Number 5, check their past work. Look them up on the Better Business Bureau to check their reputation. You want a contractor with more than 5 years of experience, preferably. Ask for a list of references from their previous projects and follow up with these. You can also check their reputation and reviews on social media platforms or Yelp. Number 6, utilize best payment practices. Don't pay in cash or the full total upfront. Be wary of any contractor who demands this. An initial payment should be about 1/3 of the estimated cost, or should be given in the form of a check written to the company, not the individual. It should also be stated in the signed contract about that payment and an amount of work that is expected. Getting multiple estimates and carefully vetting your contractor may take some time, but at the end of the day, it is worth more for your peace of mind and your bank account. Before we dive into the 14 questions you should ask your contractors, I ask that you hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. It's absolutely free and really helps the channel reach more people. So now that we've discussed a couple of tips to help you vet your contractor, let's cover some questions you will want to ask them. We have gathered a list of the best questions to ask a contractor during the interviewing process. Number 1, how many people work for you and what is the structure of your company like? This will tell you how large their organization is, which can be a good indication of how long they've been around and how well established they are. It can also tell you what type of support they have. Having administrative personnel who help with manage property schedules, billing, property manager or assistant managers, and other support will likely make it easier for you to get in touch with the company when you need to. You won't have to worry about an individual being a single point of contact and missing phone calls when you need them while they're on the job somewhere else. Number 2, how long have you been running your own crew? This question helps give you a better idea of how experienced they are at what they do and if they have a track record of being dependable over a long period of time. You may want to ask them about turnover on the crew as well. If they have to fire their framer every other week, you may have a hard time getting through that part of the renovation. Number 3, are you licensed? Definitely make sure their licenses are up to date and they are registered with the state. Number 4, are you insured? This includes general liability insurance and workers' compensation. There is only one right answer to this question. Once they hopefully say yes, ask to see a copy of their certificate of insurance. Number 5, will you be using subcontractors on this project? Ideally, the contractor can do the entire project with just their own team, whether for a residential or a commercial property. This allows the general contractor to have more control over the timeline and the budget. If they have to subcontract specific parts of the project out, then they cannot control, for example, this plumber or that painter's schedule. Regardless, you need to make sure that each person is conducting the work is trained, licensed, and insured. While subcontractors aren't a red flag per se, they can create more work for you and also increase the timeline. Number 6, have you ever had to declare bankruptcy or operated a company under a different name? If they say yes, you will need to do a little more research to ensure they are not going to go bankrupt again. You also need to check on any previous companies, as there is probably a reason they are not still in operation. When you research and conduct interviews, it is not enough that they pass the test. You need to answer 2 questions. Are they a good person? And can you work with them? Not everyone that passes all the tests are good people to work with. Once you have a good idea of the contractor's reputation and experience, you can start to figure out scheduling, timelines, communication, and organizational structure. Number 7, have you had to deal with any lawsuits? Even though this question is delicate, you need to know the answer. This question consists of 3 parts. Have you ever been sued? A yes answer is not an immediate reason to cut off the interview right then and there, but you'll want to dig a little deeper to find out what the suit was about and how it turned out and how this contractor handled or responded to it. Have you ever sued a client or filed a mechanics lien against a property? You need to understand the details. At the very least, it will give you an indication of their transparency and character. You can always follow up with public record. And has your company ever had serious accidents that caused hospitalizations or injuries? Again, it is okay if the answer is yes. Accidents happen. What's important is how the contractor dealt with the situation and what they are continuing to do to ensure it doesn't happen again. Number 8, will you agree to sign lien releases before I pay you? This answer needs to be a yes. If your contractor does not want to sign a lien release to be paid for any reason at all, their intentions are probably not what they should be. Number 9, how often do you communicate with your customers? You need to get a sense of how often they will communicate with you. Will you get a daily or weekly report of progress? It's important to ask them first, rather than leading them to the answer you want to hear. Their answer will quickly give you an understanding of their professionalism. You could even offer to have them text you pictures of their progress in lieu of that daily call. Number 10, how do you clean up your job site? Don't lean on to this question by saying, do you clean up your job site daily? Instead, ask them what they do at the end of every job day. If they give some kind of half answer, then you might say, would it be an issue if I wanted my job sites cleaned up at the end of every day? It's important to see what they say to your request and then make your hiring decision based upon how they respond. If the job site is a mess, it's a liability for you and also makes you look like a slob to people that pass by. That is also a good way for material to go missing, leading to a change order later. Number 11, how many projects do you have going on right now? If your contractor says they're juggling 3 jobs at once, they will likely not meet your deadlines if you're looking to get started right away. Your follow-up question should be, how will you handle my job at the same time as these others? Your soft costs will start to eat up your profits every day if you have to wait for them as they juggle the other jobs. Now remember, once the project begins, you will also have responsibility on giving the contractor everything they need to keep the job moving. Otherwise, they may choose to prioritize another project entirely. Number 12, what would our contract look like? A lot of contractors don't even use contracts, believe it or not. So it's important to have this conversation at the beginning. It's best to always draft the contract you use and ensure that everyone signs before the work begins or any money is exchanged. Not every contractor will be okay with this, but you need to have a lawyer review any contract before you sign it. If it is written by your contractor, it is to protect them, but not necessarily you. Number 13, who would be at my house and when? You need to ensure that no one is allowed access to your house if they have not had their background checked by that company. Also, you want to ensure that there are only contractors working when you give them express permission and within the boundaries that you've laid out. Number 14, How and when would you like to be paid? An upfront payment of 50% is not reasonable, no matter what they say. A fair amount to be paid upfront is roughly 25% of the estimated costs. Make sure you both agree to and sign a predetermined payment schedule before the start of the job. A good contractor has enough in reserves to cover expenses to get started, but occasionally will need some money for some materials. If this is the case, you can order the materials and have them delivered directly to you. This way, you have what you paid for. You need to be able to work well with your contractor. At the end of the day, or the project, you want this contractor to have respected your property, been open and honest, treated you fairly, and completed the job within budget, on time, and to your personal standards. If you find that you need to report a problem contractor, the Federal Trade Commission's Consumer Information webpage lists several options for you to do so. However, you shouldn't have to worry about having to report a contractor if you properly vet them in the first place. If you've interviewed general contractors, you know that there is usually a fee to manage their subcontractors. You may be thinking, why pay them to manage subcontractors when you could just manage them yourself? I mean, the subcontractors should take care of themselves, right? Well, hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, because in the next video, we go over whether or not you should hire a GC or try managing the project yourself. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll leave my contact info down below. I look forward to hearing from you.